Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And Comcast and Disney are having a little bit of a tiff.
That's right.
Over Hulu.
Over who gets the kids?
Over who gets the kids, yeah. So, you know, this is going to be interesting to watch because they are rivals in the theme park space too. And I think Comcast is going to try to get as much money out of Disney as possible so Disney doesn't have money to compete with them.
In my opinion, Comcast deliberately ran up the acquisition of Fox, the price on it to try to make Disney pay more. Because they knew that Iger was going to pay whatever. So when Disney wanted to buy Fox, yeah, they kept bidding against them to raise the price. And I still think they did that on purpose to cost them money. And then they have money to build a whole nother theme park now.
Yeah.
Disney's like laying off people like crazy and tightening their belt and canceling projects and shutting down hotels. And now they need to pay for Hulu. And they're like, nope, we don't want to pay as much as Comcast thinks that we need to pay them.
Yeah, so we kind of figured there was going to be some disagreement over this. And remember, for the longest time, Disney was kind of like, you know, we're not too concerned about Hulu. You know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And then they're like, yeah, we love Hulu all of a sudden.
Right.
It's fantastic.
And at the last investor call, they were like, oh yeah, Hulu's doing great. We're going to roll it into like, you know, Disney Plus because they're in charge of Hulu. They own 2/3 of it since they bought Fox, where Comcast only owns 1/3 of it. So Disney gets to make all the decisions, and they're spinning on Hulu like, oh my gosh, it's the bestest thing ever. We're going to add support to Hulu. We're one of the top ones to their investors, and then to Comcast, it's not worth as much as you think.
Yeah,
I think that's funny.
Yeah, well, they don't want to pay it because, you know, the prices we'll talk about, you know, how much they might be stuck with, you know, having to pay for Hulu, but we're talking multiple Disney tentpole movies, and their movies have not been doing well. And it's a lot of money, and I don't think Disney has it. I really don't think they have it right
I think
now.
they did when they bought it, or they took control.
Yes.
But now that deal was made in 2019.
Yeah, they were riding high on Marvel movies. They were, you know, every Marvel movie was like $1 billion.
Their stock was like ridiculously high.
It was $200 and some a share, and now it's down to half of that.
I don't know. I think it's less than that. I don't know what it's at now. Let me look. Well, it was at 90 yesterday, and now it's back at 80, at under 90 again.
Could this have something to do with it? Getting out that they're going to be stuck having to pay for it?
It's a couple days old. I mean, well, more than that. This is 26. So It's been a while. Actually, my friend Gina is the one who sent it over to me and brought my attention to it. It's actually been from a few days ago, so it's not new news. I don't know why it would tank again, but I just think it's funny that they're, you know, touting Hulu as this big win for them during the investor call, and then they're like, oh, golly gee, I just don't know. It's not worth as much as you think, Comcast.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting, guys, because again, you know, we're talking billions of dollars. You know, now how many billions? That's you know, on the table, but we're talking the cost of Epic Universe at least. You know. And they're, you know, it'd be really ironic if Disney was like, here, Comcast, we got to pay you for Hulu. And they're like, yep, we're just going to pay off our Epic Universe.
It could be. But what's interesting, too, is the deal they had set up in 2019 was that Disney would have to buy out Hulu's interest by 2024. Now, the deal they set up was Disney had to buy Comcast's interest in Hulu in 2024 unless Comcast wanted to buy Disney's interest in Hulu, and then they had either one have to sell. Well, Disney's been announcing plans right and left with Hulu, so obviously they don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't think they can afford to get rid of it, but they can't really afford to buy it either. But I think when they made the deal for Hulu, they thought that things were just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up.
But they also, the part of the deal also is that for at least through 2024, that for a reduced licensing fee, Comcast has been giving them their programs on Hulu. Okay. Yeah. Now, by the end of 2024, Comcast is free to take those off of Hulu. So that's going to be worth less when all that stuff's gone. So I just think this whole thing's this, you know, and Disney doesn't want that to happen. We talked about how Comcast is having their own more affordable streaming platform. Yeah. And since Disney got Hulu, they've raised the price on live TV like almost double what it was.
Yeah, and the live TV now they did an update, and it's terrible. Like, finding the guide on that thing is terrible, and then you realize that there really aren't that many channels. It's Disney stuff and some NBC stuff and a couple of stragglers, but it's not like, you know, going out and buying cable. And if you have Comcast offering a package, eventually we're going to come full circle. You're basically going to be paying your cable bill all over
again. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, now they're going to arbitration to discuss this. So before we get into it any further, which is too late, I know.
We're pretty much elbow deep into it right now.
Yeah. Before we get shoulder deep, please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Yeah, mine aren't as good.
Your what? Your arm is good? I thought you said my arm is good. I'm like, you don't want to go shoulder deep? Okay, so yeah, apparently what's going on is now they're going to arbitration because they're fighting each other over valuation. Comcast and Disney are supposedly, according to the Wrap, tens of billions of dollars apart on the valuation. Now, back when the deal was formed in 2019, the valuation floor is set at $27.5 billion. Now, apparently that's for the entirety of Hulu. They weren't being very clear about that. We thought that was just for their share. It's the entirety.
And actually, a lot of media outlets were confused about that because I've seen it both ways on site. Some people are like, oh, yeah, it's their share is $27 billion. Oh, the share is, $8 billion or whatever, or $9 billion, whatever it is. But they're on the hook for billions of dollars. I mean, regardless of what the actual price is, billions of dollars. Of course, Disney is going to try to get it as cheap as possible.
Now, to be fair, I think Comcast is off base with what they were asking for. Disney says that Comcast's stake in Hulu at this point in time with current market valuation is only worth about $8.7 billion. Well, if you go by the base floor at $27.5 billion, which was base, $8.3 billion would have been their share of Hulu. But after this many years and all the stuff that's been added to it and stuff, it should be higher the way Disney spins it during investor calls.
I think at this point, you would have to look at it and be like, what's the future of streaming look like? Actually, if anything, if you're being, I mean, this is my personal opinion. If you're really being fair, the future of streaming is declining returns. So it might, if you had somebody come in, a third party come in and be like, hey, could you take another look at this? What is the future of Hulu really going to look like?
It doesn't matter the future is what it matters what the value is right now. If the future sucks, that's on Disney. They're the ones that made the deal. They need to look at what is the value of Hulu right now, or right when they being early of 2024, when they would have to have a price set to agree to. Now, Comcast was like saying they wanted $27.5 billion, which is where they're getting the tens of billions discrepancy. But if it's only worth that can't be what they're asking for. But they're saying that the 8.7 isn't enough compared to what's current valuation is. And I guess Brian Roberts, who's the CEO of Comcast, said that, why don't you just set the valuation as what, if you were to sell it today to somebody else, what value do you think what value is it set at? Yeah. If you'd sell it to a third party, that's the valuation. So like if Disney's saying it's valued at $27.5 billion, but they would turn around and say it's $40 billion for you to someone else to buy it, then that valuation would be $40 billion. That's what they need to look at. Then they get a third of that. But they think the 8.7 is too low. And Disney thinks that, it's a perfectly good deal because they don't have any money.
Yeah, they don't. And that's still a chunk of change. I mean, the reality is that they way overspent on streaming all the way around because you were basically just buying eyeballs. If you just wanted a site that worked and you were going to build your audience up anyway, they could have bought Tubi. That's what blows my mind. Like Rupert Murdoch took the money that Disney wasted on Fox. He bought Tubi for $500 million, less than $500 million. Not
only did they waste it on Fox, so they way overpaid, which is Comcast's fault, but they also turned around and built a whole nother streaming platform from the ground up. Or like you said, if you just bought Tubi, it could have got cheaper, or another platform like it. They could have got the base, but no, they had to build it themselves.
That's what
they paid billions to do that too.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Or you just tack on to Hulu or something. I'm like, why would you start from scratch when there's nothing Disney Plus does that's original or unique?
They make original content that no one watches, and then they have to take a $1.5 billion write down to get rid of Willow.
But like and then when they launched it, they had all kinds of problems on day one with it, and I'm like, I just don't understand why you spent billions and billions of dollars to build from the ground up when you could have just bought something else that was already running, stripped the content out of it, and just put all Disney content on it.
Well, that's what people wanted. They promised the whole Disney library, and you're not getting the whole Disney library.
Now they're actually taking a write-off, I guess. They're taking like a $1.5 billion write-down.
Not just that. They're taking stuff they own that Disney owns and Fox. They have for Fox and for like some of the different, Touchstone and things that they've had. And they're shipping them off to Roku and Tubi and different places like that. So they're not even keeping them all on Disney Plus, or they're pulling a Zaslav.
Yeah, none of this makes sense. I mean, basically, well, the only thing that makes sense is Bob Iger is an arrogant douche, and he's way overspent on everything because he could, and he thought that the Disney empire was never going to crumble. and that they were going to be able to spin all these plates. And really all they had to do was be the best at being Disney. But no, they had to overreach. And they keep overreaching. And, they got lucky in the past before they bought some things that worked out for them. But now it's like Pixar is crumbling. Lucasfilm is crumbling.
Yeah, Sony's out marveling Marvel.
Yeah, it's like all this stuff. The Muppets, who the hell knows what happened to the Muppets?
Oh, they did a new Muppets thing, I guess, with the.
Oh, the Electric Mayhem.
Yes.
I heard that was actually pretty good.
It probably was. The new Muppets wasn't too bad. So it's just the thing. And also what's interesting to me is Disney knew they were going to have to probably buy this out next year. Bob Iger's been saying since he came back in November that they were going to have to probably buy it out. That was probably what was going to happen. They were looking into it, but there wasn't really any way they can get out of it. And then all of a sudden they announced layoffs because they have to save $5.5 billion, and most of it because of streaming.
So $5.5 billion they got to save, and then they got to turn around and dump another $8 or $9 billion into Hulu.
I think that they're trying to save money to pay for Hulu. So now they're stuck with Hulu, and then they're already announcing that they're going to make a Disney Plus Hulu app, combined app. They just did a deal where if you subscribe to Hulu for 6 months, you got $2 extra, but you get to Disney Plus too. And they can't drive subscriptions to Hulu and Disney Plus.
So, okay, so they overspent building Disney Plus when they didn't have to. They could have bought Tubi or some other app, and they already had 2/3 of Hulu from the Fox thing. They overspent on Fox. They got a bunch of IP that's completely worthless. They shut down Blue Sky, which they got out of the deal. What did Bob Iger buy exactly?
That's a question.
From my point of view, again, he could have just taken $500 million, bought a service like Tubi, and turned it into a Disney streaming service instead of spending countless billions of dollars. And now he's stuck spending more money. What did he buy exactly? Because at the end of the day, Disney Plus and Hulu will probably merge into one app anyway. So all this stuff is just negated.
Well, what did he buy anyway? He got the rights back to things like Fantastic Four and stuff like that.
Which they're going to ruin.
But yes, but that wasn't worth $70 billion.
Hell no. You could have, no. And God, the smart thing to do would be like, okay, Fox, you get Fantastic Four. I don't know what the deal was specifically, but be like, get Fantastic Four and X-Men, but we'll cut you a deal like we do with Sony where we want those characters in the MCU, but we get some oversight into how they're incorporated in the MCU and how, that would have been a hell of a lot cheaper.
Well, they would have had to make the deal with Comcast because Fox wanted to sell no matter what. So they could have made that deal, but Fox wasn't going to do that. They wanted to sell. So they would have sold to Comcast. And I think it was a matter of keep away where he's like, I can't let Comcast have it because if they get the rights to the stuff,
they're not going to let us.
They're not going to let us have it back. And they already have the issues of Florida. They'll probably start doing it in California. I don't know. But what I do know is that there's a big fight now between Disney and Comcast over the valuation of Hulu. Now, it was worth that in 2019. It's probably worth more than that now. It probably was not as worth as much as it was 3 years ago, but it's still probably worth more than that 27.5, which is the ground. It cannot go below that. So Disney, I think it sounds like, is just saying the valuation is the same as it was in 2019. Now, an arbitrator is going to come in and going to take a look at it, look at what was promised, look at what the value is, and then decide from there. Because it's basically, we have to decide what the value of Hulu is, what they think it's going to be in January of 2024, so that Comcast gets their 1/3 share and gets, the best price for it. But Disney doesn't want to pay the best price. They want to pay the least amount. And 8.3 or 8.5 was the least they could pay. And they're offering 8.7.
This is like The Price is Right. Price is wrong.
I think it's more like divorce court, but yeah.
Divorce court means the price is wrong, Bob.
Yeah, price is wrong, Bob.
Price is wrong.
Brian says the price is wrong. So that's what's going on. Now they're in arbitration. Nothing's ever easy.
If Disney would just stay in its lane and try to be the best Disney it could possibly be, and they wouldn't have tried to overreach and become an entertainment conglomerate.
And stop the live action remakes.
Stop the live action remakes. Go back to basics. Because this is all about Bob Iger and his legacy and his ride of a lifetime. Well, he's taken shareholders for the ride of a lifetime at this point.
Yeah. Again, this Disney stock is now at $89.90, and it was way less than it's been in years. Like, the 5-year high. So it went from really good years leading up to the pandemic to it not doing very well after the pandemic and during the pandemic. But you have Josh tomorrow, going on about how, we survived the pandemic fine, and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's a big fight now. So
it's a big fight, and it's not going to end anytime soon. And I think it's going to get really interesting when Epic Universe opens, because Comcast is already destroying Disney at the box office with animation, and that was the one thing that Disney did better than anyone.
Not now.
Not now. Between that and Spider-Verse, and at this point, Disney
pretty much anyone else doing animation,
because Disney doesn't care about animation. They really don't.
And that's what they were known for. And then you have Epic Universe is coming, and they're booking along on this thing. Like it's going up quickly.
Go up a lot quicker if they have an extra $8 or $10 billion.
Well, they won't get that even until next year anyway. And Epic Universe, I think, is supposed to open. Is it next year? Or maybe the year after. It's going to be opening next couple of years.
Yeah, but they build things a lot quicker than Disney does. Because Disney, as I understand it, the reason things don't get built quick is they tend to stick the contractors with the tech.
Yes, and I did a story on Pirates and Princesses the other day that there's 2 new liens against Disney for Tron because they didn't pay contractors.
And it took them, 5 years to build Tron?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pandemic was in there, but it took longer than that. They announced 2017?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 6 years.
And when did Universal announce Hagrid, and when did they open it? When did Universal announce the Velocicoaster, and when did they open it?
Right.
I mean, you're talking they opened their attractions. I mean, some of them aren't as complicated, but still they can put a ride up in a year or two versus Disney. They just drag it out. How long did Fantasyland take? I mean, years.
Yeah.
How long is Epcot taking? Years. Because they're not paying their bills.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye. Sorry, I yelled loudly.
That's okay. I got the limiter on.
Okay. So
you can tell
setting?
Yeah, you can
Wait,
tell.
Really? It automatically limits it when I yell?
It does. When the pitch gets too high, it does. Sometimes if you sound all robotic, it's because it's bringing the decibels down.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.